Business Campus Trail, 72nd Avenue. This was the rebid on this project. We had two bids. Yankee General Contractors in the amount of $2,400,293.65, and Hussons Incorporated, $2,608,691.68.
I make a recommendation that we bring this back to review, and then if we decide to award it, we will request authorization from WSDOT to do so at a next meeting.
Okay, sounds good. So we'll see this back with the recommendation. Thanks, TJ. Item number 3 is open bids for the street lighting controls. So we'll open these bids here. Electrical will review them and then bring them back with the recommendation. Thanks. Supreme Lighting Design. Proposal. Etco Electric Supply. Proposal. Werner Electric. Cost proposal. And Signify. Cost proposal. So Rick, you'll review those and bring them back? Sure. Okay. Yeah, and then we'll go over them then with your recommendation, okay? Thank you. Item 4, open request for proposals for hand labor and shoveling services for winter seasons of 22, 23, 23, 24, 24, 25, 25, 26, and 26, 27. We had one proposal from Revi Design. Probably review these unit costs over the 5 years and bring back a recommendation. Al, compare them to last year's and bring back a recommendation. Item 5 is the 22 Street Construction Project B, Hussons Incorporated, change order number 1.
So there's several change order items on here. The majority, or some of them, have explanations included with them. But if there's any other items that you'd like me to go over in detail, I can. If not, I recommend the approval of the change order in total amount of $21,219.82.
I'll move to approve that change order.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 6, 2022 Street Construction Project B, Hussons Incorporated, pay estimate number 3.
This is for work completed on 4th Avenue and 4th Street. This was reviewed by the inspector and myself and recommended for approval in total amount of $228,096.25.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 7 is discussion and possible action on delaying billing special assessments for drive approaches and sidewalk for the 22 street construction projects.
I can take a stab at this, and maybe Lori could help me out, but, so we do not, at this point, most of the driveways are are not poured or being poured. So we, with the notices that need to be sent out to the people who are paying the assessments, the first payment will be due, when is that, Lori? October 31st, so by the time we get those mailings out, they won't have an opportunity to pay them before they go on their tax bill. So what we've done in the past is we've assessed out the street frontage, but we've delayed assessments on the driveways. So then they would get billed out next fall, and then if they don't pay them by October 31st of next year, they would get put on their tax bill then. So that's the my recommendation at this point, just in fairness to the residents, to delay the assessments on the driveways for 1 year.
I'm sorry, Ellen, they do get assessed for the sidewalk now? Or it's all delayed?
The sidewalk and the driveways would be delayed.
Would be delayed, okay.
Just the front footage, that $42 per foot, and their lateral costs would be assessed this year.
And then they'd still have to pay those by October 31st?
Correct.
Okay,
Or they would go on their tax bill, which is the normal procedure.
okay. It just breaks it up a little bit for them. And the bills go out before October of next year, I hope, so
Correct.
they have more time to pay them.
Correct. It's just that it gets a little late every year, and this year is no different, I
Yeah,
guess.
I'll move to approve that we follow this process.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Then item 8, discussion and possible action on amendment number 1 to the agreement with Becker Hoppe regarding the downtown mall redevelopment.
The original scope with Becker Hoppe did not include survey, topo. So the engineering department did do a majority of the topo. However, our staff is still busy on street reconstruction projects and don't really have the time at this point to go out and do this amount of work. So we did ask Becker Hoppe for their proposal to include the remainder of the topographic work, which include popping manholes and getting inverts and such. And after reviewing it with Dave and Josh, the lead technician, we feel that the costs that they have presented are reasonable, and that hope that, I mean, we think it makes sense for Becker Hoppe to move forward and do the topo to move that project along, because we don't want to delay them.
Yeah, I think the other thing with that too is that we're a bit under a time crunch just with the stormwater management plan, because we have to prepare that for the entire site for the project to progress forward. And I think we're under a time crunch with our staffing needs, and so.
Correct, we are. So they have the staff to do it, so I would recommend we move ahead with Becker Hoppe to do that topographic survey, the remainder of it.
Were these additional services bid? I mean, the original services bid and Becker Hoppe was awarded them, or was it
Correct.
sole sourced?
No,
or-
it
okay.
was a RFP process, which we chose Becker Hoppe.
Okay,
And this work was not included in that proposal, because at the time, we thought we could handle all the survey work, but since we're falling a little bit behind on our own work, this would be additional scope to their work.
okay.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 9, discussion and possible action on amendment number 4 to the agreement with Bariantos regarding the DPW facility study. So we had brought this forward to SISM to narrow down site selection. SISM wanted us to move ahead with reviewing a site on West Street, the old ironworks site. I believe it's 1100 West Street. And then also to update and finalize our site selection report that we have that that has been amended. They would like whatever information we find here to update that site selection report or review report, alternate site evaluation study, to be updated before it comes back to committee. So this scope of work will take a closer look at the West Street property, and then also provides costs to update that site evaluation study as requested by the committee.
Okay, I wasn't asked specifically to look at this contract, but because I've been asked for a legal opinion by some members of the council on this whole thing, I've been trying to, and Lori knows this, track down the background information. And I don't have executed copies, but this thing has really morphed over time. I assume that it was approved by the finance committee originally because the original cost was 27.
That's correct.
So
yeah.
as a sole source, it was just over the 25 needing finance approval. Now they're proposing to be at 76,936.
Correct.
So the money is okay, or has this gone back to finance at all with all these
It
amendments?
hasn't. I spoke with Mary Ann, and
Okay.
she said we have funding available for this.
Okay.
Yep, to keep this moving forward.
So the first contract was in 2018, and it was more like a letter, a task letter, than a real contract.
Yes.
And
Yep.
then the second one was marked Amendment 2 in April of 20. And then the third amendment was June of 21. And that's the first instance I see of them saying that they're going to look at Cleveland Avenue. Does that comport with your memory? Like June of 2021? Because by September of 2021, then the council said, take
Yes.
that off the table. So was that communicated to Bariantos somehow, I hope? Because
Yeah.
it doesn't look like it's in this fourth amendment or new contract.
No,
Okay.
we're not looking at 1300 Cleveland Avenue at this point. But the site evaluation study that was started back in 18, 19, and
Okay.
20, that work did look at 1300 Cleveland Avenue.
Right.
And so that's part of that site evaluation study. But since the council in, was it September of 21?
Yes, it was September of 21.
Yeah.
Yep.
We haven't done any further work to evaluate 1300 Cleveland, other than it's part of just.
But it still
the
showed up
report.
on whatever went to SISM not too long ago.
That's
like a year
correct.
later, it was still on there.
Correct, because
Okay.
it's part of that,
I'm having
That-
trouble understanding
yeah.
that.
It's part of that report
Report.
that was initially provided
Okay.
back in 2020 or 2019.
Okay. So now they're saying with this one, they're calling it Amendment 4, but then it says that this is actually a contract. Not in their cover letter. I think it says it in paragraph 2 of the contract. The intent of this contract is to replace the previous contract, and this contract shall govern all work moving forward. So it's really not an amendment, it's a brand-new contract, right? They're saying this takes the place, and I didn't review any of the other ones, and I'm okay with approving them, but I'd like some more time to review this contract, because it wasn't brought specifically to my attention when I pulled the agenda out this morning. I'm like,
Sure.
oh my word, okay.
So this is our general contract?
Correct, I
that we
recognize
use?
that.
Yep.
Okay, so it may be okay. I was just reading some of the other language they popped in there. I mean, like
Okay.
they've got Amendment 1, none. And I noticed one of their letters that said Amendment 3 on the cover, or 2 on the cover letter was marked Amendment 3 on the actual amendment. And this cover letter says Amendment 4R1. I don't know what that means either.
Yeah, I don't know if that's for their internal use.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
It's just hard to follow the documents, but if we're going to replace everything, I'll make that language a little clearer, that this
That sounds
contract
great.
or our template will replace the first
Okay.
contract and all amendments, but I'll move to approve, let's see what the agenda item says. Approve, amending the original contract for the fourth time by entering into a new contract with Bariantos regarding the DPW facility study contingent upon my review of the proposed contract.
I'll second that. I think one of the, yeah, I mean, I think that you're right, Ann. I mean, as this has evolved since 2018, it has become confusing. So I thought it would be best if we outlined everything that was done in the past and.
I would agree.
And try to get a narrative put together, to the point that we're at. So hopefully, when you get done with your review, then this will be an easier document to look at for any potential future work.
Absolutely. And this
Okay.
has everything in it where the other ones just covered, scope and what
Right.
we expected of them, but didn't have all the boilerplate stuff we'd like to see in there. So this is good. Thank you.
Okay, yeah.
So did you make a motion?
You did. I
Oh.
seconded.
Okay, good. Then
So-
we need to vote, right, Lori?
Yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I will move to adjourn.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.